Welcome to Scotland in May. Look at it. Cape Wrath, you're not beating us.
Say goodbye to the bog.
This is brutal. Well, good morning. Not a bad kip last night. We actually had a load of deer come past camp. So that was quite entertaining to watch a load of stags and deers and everything walking past. So the rains haven't happened. We did think we were going to be packing up in the rain this morning. It's very overcast. So maybe we might get a soaking later on. You never know, or it might bypass us. It is quite warm, so I've not even bothered putting the hoodie on this morning. So right, let's make our way out of Kinlochhourn and up that. Welcome to day 5 of the Cape Wrath Trail. So we've just stopped for a minute, halfway up where the second pylon is. There's a guy there, that's a Scottish fella that's doing the Cape Wrath. Don't know if you're able to see him in the distance. Yeah, we're on a bit of a level bit. That's our view. That's the way we came in yesterday. Nothing like a steep climb in the morning to get the heart racing. And we're getting blue sky. So maybe that rain's going to bypass us. Right. Onward. Well, you get to the top and that's what you're rewarded with. Look at that. I believe the pylons take the electricity to the Isle of Skye. That is stunning. So we're going to be heading down in a minute. Wow. Absolutely gorgeous. And the sun's out. Oh yeah. I wouldn't have liked to have done that in the pouring rain. Whew. Right. Let's get going, head down. We're going to get to the deer stalker's hut. And then the plan is to stop there for a little bit. It was forecasted rain this morning, like I say. And the plan was to get to the deer stalker's hut and across that river. Just in case we had a lot of rain through the night, but I think it's going to be no more than a trickle, so it'll be fine. Right, let's get down there. The infamous deer stalker's hut there. That's become quite famous now on the Cape Wrath Trail, with people staying in it and stuff. The lad that set off before us, the Scottish lad, he's just here by the river. So this was the river that we were a little bit conscious about getting across when we were planning this trip, but as you can see, it's literally a few inches. I've seen so many people struggling to get across this, and if there's if they've had no rain and then it's raining the next day, they've actually camped on the other side of it. Right, let's go and check this little hut out. So the famous deerstalker's hut that I've seen so many times on people's videos. Oh, the floor's looking a bit worse for wear. Someone's left their rubbish. Looks like quite a few people have stayed here now. I remember watching a video, Hounds of Howgate, and he stopped here for the night with his dog. I've seen a few more people staying here. Oh, the floor's a little bit springy. Right, I think we're going to stop here for probably about 20 minutes or something. We're 2.6 miles from camp, and as you can see, we've now got almost blue sky, so the rain's not happened, so it's probably bypassed us. So when we leave, we're going to cross the river and then head up towards the left. Right, have something to eat, fill our water bottles up, and then we'll get going again. Right, quick 10-minute break at the deerstalker's hut. I was reading the graffiti inside. Somebody had wrote, "Thank you so much for this hut. It was a lifesaver in such bad weather." I imagine in bad weather it'd be very different around here than what we've got it today. Yeah. Right, shame that lots of people have dumped rubbish underneath it, but there you go. It is a problem on the Cape Wrath, there's no litter bins like I said last night, so you've got to carry your rubbish with you. You can't start sticking it under deer huts and burying it and stuff. Right, let's get across this river, which is just a trickle, and keep going. So we've just followed the path, come across the river, and we're now following this 4x4 track up. We're heading to the Glomach here. This is the forking ridge that we need to be on the other side of. I have seen people come round and hug the landscape and bushwhack across so you're not losing any height, and then go up the Glomach. But this is the way we've mapped it, to follow this 4x4 track. Don't know if you can make Darren out in the distance there. This big lump of rock with the moss on it looks rather odd. Right, bit of a steep climb ahead. Right, so we've made it to the bottom. We're going to start making our way up to the Glomach, which is up here. So that's the way we've come. Looking at it on the right of the river. Like I said earlier, I've seen some people hug the landscape, but it brings you to the same point at the bottom of this Glomach, so I don't really see the point. Following that path was a lot easier, or I presume a lot easier, than bushwhacking that landscape there. Right, let's get up here, up to the top of there. steep path. We've still got snow. Keep going. Nearly at the top. We're at the top of the Glomach. Wow, that was a steep climb. It's a really icy cold breeze, which is very, very welcoming right now. Walking Ridge behind me. What a place. This would be a fantastic spot to wild camp. A couple of towns there behind me, but you'd need really good weather. Wow. So we can see the wall in the distance that we need to go over to on the left. It's just over here, so we need to pick that wall up and then follow that down. Get my fingers in the right place down that ridge. How much snow there still is. We're now in May, and the hot weather that we've had. Whoa. What's a place. I wouldn't want to do this in bad weather. It's hard, and imagine in bad weather it'd be even harder. Zero visibility. Yeah, this would be a tough Glomach to get to. Whew. Right, I think we're gonna have 5 here. Pick up the dry stone wall and then start making our way down into Shield Bridge. Right, so we've made our way off the Glomach, which is up there. We've followed it round, followed the dry stone wall. Don't know if you see Darren there coming down. And we're going to follow this path all the way down along the side of this one here in front of me, into the dip there in the middle, and then at some point it should drop off to the left and into that glen. So we just come over this little brow here, and there was a guy on the path talking on his phone. So I thought, he's got a signal. So I took my phone out of flight mode and yeah, got 4G. So I was able to make a call. Not had any signal since leaving Fort William at all. Darren has got the Garmin SOS in reach, so he has been sending his wife a message every morning and then a message at night. But yeah, I've not spoken to any of my family for a few days now. So yeah, it was good to make that call. So that's the glen that we're about to drop into, and then all the way down to Shield Bridge. I reckon a couple of hours and we should be down there. Look at that for a plunge pool. Nice to cool off in that. So that's why we've come all the way down, and we're still at it. Still making our way down. Quite a well-defined path though. It's just going on forever and ever. So eventually we should come to a river crossing, and then pick up the last bit of path into Shield Bridge. We finally got to the river. Path's over there. Follow it all the way down. Got really boggy coming round this bit here. The last bit. Yeah. Boggy. Right, let's get across this. Well, that could have been very different if it was in spate. But yet again, with the hot weather, the rivers are low. So we are being really lucky with the river crossings. Only a few inches deep. Right, follow this path all the way into Shielbridge. I think we're less than a mile away now. So we've made it to Morvich, and we're at Kinsale Crafts and Pit Stop Cafe, which is just behind me. So we're going to get some food in the cafe, get some resupplies in Kinsale Crafts, and then the campsite we think is less than 2 miles further on. It's just gone 3 o'clock, so we've got plenty of time to have some decent food for a change. Right, a bit of a pit stop in the Pit Stop Cafe. Definitely recommend the Pit Stop burger and chips. Oh, best burger I've ever had. A couple of cans of pop as well. And then we've been in Kinsale Crafts and got a few bits from there. Right, not that far to the campsite now. Right, so we're all pitched up at the Caravan and Camping Club site in Morvich. Really nice site, as you'd expect from a Caravan and Camping Club site. £16.50 each it was. There's actually a film crew here. They've occupied the field next to us. So it's quite a hive of activity. There's actually security here and everything. Vehicles whizzing up and down. So Darren's opposite me here. These lads here are from Belgium, they're doing the Cape Wrath. And this lad here, Scottish lad, he's doing the Cape Wrath as well. So there's a couple of us here tonight. So we've been and had a shower, which was heaven. First shower in, 4 days, 5 days. I've had a shave. Yep, I bought a razor and shaving cream with me on the Cape Wrath. Don't judge me. Darren's gone and done some washing, so when that's done I'm going to go over and put stuff in the dryer and get it all dry. There's a place in there that we can plug in and charge stuff up, so we're going to go and get stuff charged up as well. Really good day today on the Cape Wrath. Another tough day. There's no easy days on the Cape Wrath, but another good day. So we left camp at 7 o'clock this morning, got here for about 5 o'clock. Stopped a few times. We stopped at the Pit Stop Cafe for about an hour. We've been in Kinsale Crafts, bought stuff from there. So yeah, not a bad day today. Moving time was 7 hours 11 minutes. And the calories that I've burnt today is 2,400 calories. And we've done 3,166 feet of ascent and 3,173 of descent. So yeah, another eventful day. From leaving Kinlochhourn, you're straight up and out. It wasn't too bad. It was steep. But you're on fresh legs. You know, you've just left camp. That's if you stay at Kinlochhourn. So it wasn't too bad. Got to the stoker's hut. That's looking a little bit worse for wear now. The floor's all gone. Lots of rubbish underneath that people have left. Talking of rubbish, actually, we've just emptied our rucksacks and put it in the bins here. There's obviously no bins, but you can't be putting it in places under deerstalker huts or chucking it everywhere. You've just got to carry it. and the first bin that you come to, put it in. When we got to pit stop calf, there was actually signs up saying, please do not put rubbish in our bins. So it's obviously a problem. People are just trying to get rid of the rubbish. After the Stoker's Hut, up and over the Glomach, that was tough going. Not much of a path, very, very faint. So you're just heading on a bearing, going up, but it's fairly obvious where you're going in good weather. I wouldn't like to do it in bad weather. It would be a lot harder, and you definitely would be on a bearing if you couldn't see the top. And then you come over the other side and you drop down into Shield Bridge, which takes a long time. It's miles to get down and into Shield Bridge, and you pass the campsite, and then eventually we got to the cafe and that, where we stopped for the best burger and chips ever. Tasted so good. So we're going to, like I say, Darren's just finishing off some laundry, and then we're going to get some clothes dry. There's a pool room or something where we can plug stuff in and charge stuff up. So we're going to have a night out of the tents and go and chill out over there. So right, let's do some map time, and then I can go and chill out. Okay, so map time. It's going to be a tent peg tonight because I've not got my spoon out because we've already had tea. So where the little Kinlochhourn and little tent symbol is, that's where we camped. And then we left camp, and you follow a 4x4 track, and then you come to a gate, a white gate. It does say private estate, but it says that you can go through it. If you go to the left of the foot, then it's just a 4x4 track. That's the wrong way. So we went through the gate, and then you go in between some houses, and then you start going up. And this is where it's steep, really steep. It does level out sort of halfway up, and you're following the pylons that I believe take the electricity to the Isle of Skye. But before you know it, you're at the top, and then you've got an amazing view of all the mountains over here. So we then followed it down, obvious path, 4x4 sort of track again, or more like a quad bike track. And we followed it round. And I've actually marked on the map Deer Hut as being here, but it's not. It's literally there just before the river crossing where it says 283 on the map. That little square dot is where the Deerstalker's Hut is. We stopped there for a bit, 20 minutes or so, and then we left there and we went across the river. The river was really low, but I have seen people struggle to get across that. There are a few camping spots around it, but not many. You'd probably get 2 or 3 tents in that sort of area. So we got across the river, and then you go up. This goes up, and then it goes round. And then we got to about here, where the point of the word hard is. And I'd mapped it to go across and keep high across the mountain range here, but Darren had mapped it to go down, and there is actually on the map a little tiny path to go down and cross the river. And we looked at going this way, and there was no obvious path at all. So we thought, right, we'll stick onto the quad bike track and we'll follow it down. So we followed it down, we got across the river, no problem at all. Again, if that was in spades, that would be a problem. And then we picked up the quad bike track, and then it continued along, and then it just ran out and it went to a very faint path. And the guy that was in front of us, a Scottish lad, he was roughly about here, we could see him. So we just headed to the bottom of the Glomach. We got here, had a rest for about 20 minutes, and then we made our way up. There is signs of a path, but it's very faint, and you lose it, and then you see it again, and then you lose it, and you're better off just going up on a bearing. The path isn't like this at all. It's kind of all over the place, so you just end up, go up on a bearing and get yourself to the top. And when you get to the top, that's where there's like metal fencing posts and stuff, and there's a couple of little tarns. They're actually there on the map. And you look over to your left and you can see the wall, like the remains of a wall, and that's where you need to head to. It was quite cold actually when we got up there. There was still snow on the saddle. Darren actually put his hoodie on, but then as soon as we started to descend the other side, it just got really hot again, so we ended up stopping and taking it off. So we came along the dry stone wall all the way down, and then you end up roughly about here before you go up to this one. I'm not going to pronounce it. Boldhammer Finch or something. And there is a path there, and that's the way we'd mapped it down. So we followed it down, and there is kind of a path, but as you get lower it sort of disappears, and then as you get back down to the river, it actually you can actually see the path, and then you just keep following it along, so the river's on your left. Move over to here, and this just went on for ages, miles, literally miles it went on for. Quite a narrow path, rocky path, boggy in places, and it got to here where it goes to little small dots, and that's where it went really sort of boggy, and you've just got to basically make your way down to the river. You can see the crossing point, and you can see where people have gone different ways. Once we got to the river, again it was fine. It was probably no more than 10 inches deep in places at the deepest point, so we were quite lucky there. You cross the river, you get onto a well-defined path, and you just follow it all the way down. Again, this was a couple of miles, and the first campsite you see is this one here at Shield Bridge, and then you come out into civilization, and you've got cars whizzing past. It's a bit of a reality check, and then you walk along the road. You go past Kinsale Lodge Hotel. We went past that, and we followed the road all the way along, and then to our left, about here, you could actually come off the road and go down like a little track, and it just got you off the road for a bit. And that's where we stopped, at the Kinsale Crafts and Pit Stop Cafe. You come out the cafe and you don't go back on the main road. There's like a little country road that goes up the side of it, and we followed that road all the way down, and we got to Morvich campsite, and that's where we are now. So tomorrow we're going to head up here and off and do Falls of Glomach. So that's the end of today. So right, we're going to go and sort our laundry out. Get in this little comfy room that they've got, put our feet up for a bit, charge some battery packs up, and I shall see you all tomorrow for day 6 of the Cape Wrath Trail. See you tomorrow. Well, good morning. Great stop off at Morvich Caravan and Camping Club. Feeling nice and clean clothes, clean shaven. Yeah, feeling brand new again. Probably look like crap, but I'm feeling brand new. So we've got quite a big day again today, 18 miles, and we're going to make our way to Maol-Bhuidhe, Bothy, I think that's how you pronounce it, but via the Falls of Glomach. So wish us luck. Welcome to day 6 of the Cape Wrath Trail. I always knew you were into a bit of swinging. I like a swing in the morning.
Yeah.
So this is the part you get to where if you don't want to do the Falls of Glomach, you go that way. If you do want to do them, you go that way, the way that we're going. So we're 5.5 miles in from camp. The falls of Glomach are there, or the top of it. So we've just got to make our way down. Once we get there, we're going to stop at the top for a bit. But what a place. We are pretty remote. It's just starting to clag in behind us. Right, let's get down to the falls. So here's the wooden marker. There is a path going down. Just see this this guy coming up with the orange rucksack cover. He's just been down to the viewing point, which is here. The path that we need to take is higher up. I'll hold the camera still and try and put an hour on it because I can see it, but you probably won't be able to make it out on camera. That's the path we need to follow all the way around and then make our way down there. I think the plan is to stop here for 20 minutes, half an hour. But yeah, this is one section you don't want to get wrong, because that is a long way down. And it is massive. It is absolutely massive. Everything looks so different when you're actually here to when you see it on YouTube videos. The noise of the fall. Right, 10 or 20 minutes here, I think. I think Darren's going to have some breakfast, and then we'll tackle that. Okay, we're going to take it on. A couple of marker cairns here. This path is higher up than the path there that's to the left of Darren. That path is for the viewing point, which takes you obviously all the way down there. We're not going to do that. I'm going to keep going this way. Right, let's go. Yeah. It's not too bad. Just got to take your time and work out where you're going before you commit. It's not, so far, it's not too bad. One last look at the falls of Glomach. We're about halfway down now. So just skirted round. Come down here, down this path. Yeah, that is spectacular. So just keep following it down now. I think there's a little bit of a river crossing, which will probably be a stream. I'm not too sure where we go. I think we go round. I'm not too sure yet. Yeah, you can see the path. It looks like we go round at the bottom. Alright, carry on. A little bit of a scramble here, and we're still quite high up. Darren made that look simple. Right, my turn. I think this is the bit that I've seen a lot of people slide down on the backside. It's not too bad. It's, well, as you probably just saw, but we are in dry weather. Right, we're almost down. Falls of Glomach done. It wasn't that bad actually. Obviously we've got dry weather. I imagine in wet weather and if it was windy as well. You just got to take your time, watch where you're putting your feet. I'm not a lover of heights, especially where there's a big drop off, but it didn't really bother me. It was fine. See it behind us there. So we stopped at the first bridge. We've just had something to eat. Took the hoodie off because we're getting a little bit hot. And now we're heading to a Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy on this 4x4 track. 7.5 miles to go. It says we should be there about 4 o'clock. Alright, bit of easy walking. Let's get going. Iron Lodge just behind me. Down there. Would you want to live in a place like this? This remote? Yeah. Wow. Imagine if you nipped to the shop and you forgot the milk. So we're heading up there. 4.7 miles we've got to go to Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy. So I think we're going to find the next stream and stop for a little bit, I think. But yeah, what a place. Cool. Right, so we carried on a little bit further. The next stream was actually 2 miles away, which is here. So we just crossed this this little river. So we're now heading, make the path out there, up and then over and down to the Bothy. I think once we go round the corner we should be able to see the Bothy in the distance. We've got just over 3 miles still to do. So we're just having a quick 20 minutes here. Darren's consulting the map, looking at where we've still got to go. And I'm stuffing my face with peanuts. So we set off again. We've come over this brow. I've just turned round. I don't know if you can notice in the distance the mountains with how much snow there is on them. And we're now the 3rd of May. Sunday the 3rd of May, and there's still snow on the mountains despite the hot weather that we've had. So if it's Sunday today, that means it's Monday tomorrow. That means I'm back at work. Not. Right, we're sending down now. We've got 2.7 miles to go. You can see Darren ahead of us. Straight to the Bothy. We don't know whether we're going to stay in the Bothy or camp near it. This one's been refurbed quite recently, so we'll have a look inside, see who's there, and make a decision when we get there. There it is, right in the middle of the screen. Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy. Right, let's get down to it. Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy. So we've got a young lady and a young daughter staying in there who are outside. This is the room that's just been redone. New ceiling, couple of bunks. Not a bad view. Couple of shovels if you need to go to the toilet. And me and Darren are going to go in this room.
Yeah. I'm bags in this one because it's wide. And I'm chunky.
Wide? And you're chunky. I'll go on the narrow one then.
Yeah.
Bit of a fireplace. We'll probably move them chairs. Yeah, this is cool. Notice a leak. Toilet. Yeah, this is going to be home for the night, yeah? Oh, someone's done a picture of it.
Cool.
Yep. Right, he's happy, we're staying here.
Well, there's no tent to put up and make anybody
There's no
happy.
tent to put up. We can just set up in here, yeah. Right, let's get sorted. Right, so we've all got set up at Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy, which is a bit of a change from camping in the tents tonight. I'll give you another look round in a minute, but yeah, we've made ourselves at home, if that's what you want to call it. So another good day on the Cape Wrath. From leaving Morvich campsite, you basically go through a bit of a forest, and then you follow the 4x4 track up. That then veers off and turns into a single track, and then you just start hiking up towards the Falls of Glomach. The Falls of Glomach, I was a little bit anxious. That one's just looked over at me then. Yeah, I was a bit nervous, a bit anxious about them. I'm not great with heights, and if there's a big drop off, yeah, so the whole trip I have been a bit anxious about the Falls of Glomach. When you get there, the size of it, the size of the gorge is a lot bigger than what you think and what I've seen on YouTube videos. It's just huge, and when you look down, it's a long way down, and you kind of get it in your head that if you fall, you're not coming back. But we went for it and we did it, and when you actually get on the right path, and I think this is where people go wrong, they don't get on the right path and they get into a world of trouble. There's two paths, one goes down to a viewing point, the other one goes up, and around the gorge, and that's the one you need to take. Once you're on it and you've found it, it's fairly obvious, well-defined path, and it's not too bad. I was quite comfortable once I was on it. You follow it all the way around, and you just slowly and steadily start making your way down. We obviously had dry weather, there was no wind, and it was absolutely fine. And eventually, about halfway through it, I kind of felt quite comfortable, and we were stopping and taking pictures and everything. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And before you know it, you're down and you've done it. And then you turn right, and it was just basically about 7 miles of sort of 4x4 quad bike track until we got to the Bothy. So there's obviously us two here in this room. There's a mother and daughter in the room next door, and then there's another guy that's just turned up, and he's in the far room, like the newish sort of room. So at the moment there's like 5 of us here. We might light the fire, we're not too sure. But yeah, it's quite cool. Never stayed in a Bothy before, so it's going to be a bit of an experience. So stats for today. My watch actually reset itself at the falls of Glomach, so I think even my watch was scared. We left Morvich campsite at 7 o'clock, and we got here for about 4 o'clock, so not too bad. From Morvich campsite to the middle of the falls of Glomach, which is where my watch reset itself, it was 8.97 miles, so 9 mile, and that took us 4 hours 10 minutes. That's moving time. We obviously did stop and stuff. And then from where it reset itself to here was 5.88, and that took us 2 hours 50 minutes, so 3 hours. So it wasn't a bad day today, apart from the falls of Glomach. It was a very straightforward day. So right, let's do some map time. Right, okay, map time. Hopefully you can see it, because it's starting to go a bit dark in here. So we left Morvich campsite this morning, around about 7 o'clock. Followed the road. You go past Kinlochhourn Outdoor Centre, and then you veer off to your left. And follow it along into like a little bit of woodland. That's where we saw someone wild camping. You carry on, keep following it up. Quite an obvious path, and then you turn left, drop down and go over a bridge, and then you follow that up, and then you enter a forest on a 4x4 track. You follow that forest and track all the way up and keep going, and then you go over another little bridge, and then that's where it starts getting steep, and that's where you start climbing up. You keep going all the way up. I'm actually doing this on the Bothy floor, and then you follow it all the way up. We got to about here, and we could look down and we could see deer that were all down here. Spectacular around here it was. Huge mountains. You keep going up, up, up and up, and then you get to about here, and then that's where you look down and you can see the falls of Glomach. You can't see the falls, but you can see the river that's actually going into them. So we drop down to them. There's a wooden post in the ground that you can clearly see, and if you stand at that post and look to your left, you can see the track that takes you around the falls of Glomach. There's another path lower down, and that's the one that takes you to the viewing point. We stayed there for about 20 minutes, had something to eat, put our trekking poles away, and then we took it on. We went up to the higher path, and we just took our time and went all the way around, stopping every now and again to take pictures and stuff. And then we followed it all the way down, went over a little bridge there, and then we were completely down there, and we went over another little bridge there, and then that's where we turned right and we picked up the 4x4 track. So we followed that, really easy walking, kept on going. We got to Iron Lodge, we were going to stop there, but both of us were low on water and there was none around. We couldn't see any streams or anything. There was one lower down, this one here, but it was just a bit too far to drop down to. So we carried on, thinking that we'd come across one quite soon, but we didn't. We kept on going and we got to here, and that's where the river was, a little bit of a river crossing, and then that's where we stopped and we got to our water there, and had a little bit more to eat. We then carried on up, kept going up, got to about here, and that's where I turned round and I could see snow on the mountains behind us. And then we kept on going, carried on down. That's where it starts dropping down. Kept on going, quite a well defined path, bit boggy in some places. And then we had a couple of river crossings. We had one there, and then we had another there. But because of the hot weather, we just literally balanced across on the rocks, and they were really easy. We actually both said at the time that if these had been in spate, it would have took us quite a while to get across these. So we was quite lucky there. Two very easy river crossings that took us literally seconds to get across. We then carried on, and kept on going until we got to the Bothy. A little bit of a river crossing at the Bothy, which is there, but again we just balanced across on the rocks and got to the Bothy, which is where we are now. So Darren's just having his lunch. What are you on? Beef and potato hot pot, 1,000 calories. So Darren's there with all his stuff. I'm there with all my stuff. Somebody else has just turned up. So there's quite a few of us here tonight now, but I think we've sort of commandeered this room. So our first night in a Bothy. I've never spent a night in a Bothy before. Don't think Darren has. Have you? No. The nearest Bothies to us are in the Lake District, and there's only a couple of them, and they're usually really, really busy, and they're not in great condition. So neither of us have ever bothered staying in them. So right, from Maol-Bhuidhe Bothy, I will bid you good night and see you tomorrow morning for day 7 of the Cape Wrath Trail. See you tomorrow.